The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
And good. Well, let's try this now. Hey, there it is. It's working, Hunter. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Shock Joxx. I ain't got my ears on, is why I didn't hear myself. Kevin Hastings along with Hunter Yancey. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. You are listening to the 110th episode of Shock Joxx Sports Talk here on KTC Broadcasting.com, folks. I want to thank you for tuning in, as always, and on our Spotify, live on YouTube, and wherever you watch and listen to. Thanks for tuning in. For you folks on the on your podcast, of course, you can listen on the Apples, the Spotify, and everywhere else that you can. We do replays on YouTube and put links and highlights on Facebook of the shows. It's Monday, December 28th. Next to last show of the year. Almost last show of the year. We got us.
Wednesday will be last show.
Right, and then New Year's Eve is Thursday. So we will talk about that. We may either tomorrow or Wednesday, if you would rather do it tomorrow, as far as driving into town or not.
Oh, I have no idea. We'll think about it.
You think about that for a little bit. But folks, thanks for tuning in. We got some fun stuff to talk about today. College football has been going off. Had some games this weekend. Of course, we've got the big games coming up this weekend to prepare for. NFL yesterday. Just outstandingly crazy. NBA season has started, and more to talk about today. Calling it the best team after Clippers, whatever. Anyway, it's Kendrick Perkins. I don't know how he gets on TV sometimes, but
he says some of the most outlandish things.
He just it's like let's go to somebody to say something weird and. Apart from what we're talking about, let's go to Kendrick Perkins.
Let's go to Kendrick Perkins, our NBA insider.
Right.
I'm like, oh,
jeez,
he's your NBA insider. Well,
Hunter, do you want to talk about this week's college games first or NBA first?
We can start with the NBA and what happened this past weekend.
So the most unbelievable thing that happened this weekend, Hunter. Did you see the Hornets yesterday?
Yeah, they won.
And I told Andre,
barely.
I told Andre this when I came in today.
Yeah.
I said, whatever you do, if someone asks you, do not ever bet on the NBA. Like seriously, Hunter, if the Nets can get beat by the Hornets, then
right.
Why would you bet? What's there to bet on? Like, you're going to get. I obviously I've been on the everything is fixed for a while, but if you're a Vegas Hunter going into that game,
yeah.
Wouldn't you want nothing in the world would make you happier than the Nets winning that game? Because everybody bet on the Nets. There's surely no one was betting on the Hornets.
No.
Against the Nets. After getting beat the day before, Hunter, by the Oklahoma City Thunder, who may have the worst team in the NBA. Have you looked at their roster? I tried to name people on it, like or just look at it.
Shea
Like,
Gilgeous is the only one I've said since he came in the league he had star potential.
okay,
But
so
that's about it.
That's it.
Because
you
they
think you
moved
can name the
off of it.
starters?
Is Dort still there? Dort is this the last name? I believe it's Dort. Shea Gilgeous at the point guard position.
Dort starting.
Okay.
His first name is Luguentz.
Yeah.
Luguntz. Where's he from?
I don't know. I think he played college ball here though. I think he might be from Europe, but he played college
Canadian.
ball. Oh, he's Canadian.
Yes.
Okay.
So he's an Andrew Wiggins.
I think he might have played at Iowa State
In
in college.
Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Sun Devils.
Okay. I knew it was a state. I knew it was something state.
I mean, listen, you got way more than I would have so far.
Shea Gilgeous and Dort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you take the rest of these starters.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is who beat the Hornets. George Hill starts.
Well, he was off the bench for Milwaukee. That's weird.
Darius Baisley.
I don't know who that is.
And the center is Al Horford.
Look at old Al Horford.
Here's the bench. Hamidou Diallo, Justin Jackson, Trevor Ariza, Theo Maledon, Alexei Pogavitsky, Isaiah Roby, and the leading scorer off the bench who just killed the Hornets the other night, the Thunder legend, Mike Muscala.
I didn't know Justin Jackson was with Oklahoma City now. They must have moved off of him in Sacramento.
Yeah. Was that part of a trade? Because Sacramento made a bunch
Maybe.
of trades this
It
past
probably
year.
was.
But Mike Muscala, Hunter, dropped 18 on us and beat us. And then we turned around and beat Kevin Durant the next night.
And Terry Rozier put one on KD's head.
He did.
He did.
He did.
I didn't think KD was going to go up for it.
But see, and that's the thing. I like KD because he will. But because, like, you know, you can say whatever you want about it. Just, you know, what if he ever, you know, we've talked over the years about 7-footers, why none of them ever learn the hook shot. What if Kevin Durant all of a sudden started doing sky hooks in the lane?
We'd be unstoppable.
It would. I mean, really, 40 points a game. Just write it down. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to point out, and we talked about it Saturday about his shooting, right? So, and how, you know, he's always played with a ball hog point guard,
Yeah.
and how I think it's a travesty. And one of the things in the NBA, when, you know, you talk about like the biggest what ifs, you know, what if Iverson played with bigger, better teammates and things like that? It is what ifs. I look at Kevin Durant and look at his scoring. He averages 27 a game in his career. I went by points per shot. He actually averages more points per shot than Jordan. Durant averages 1.4 over his career. Jordan averaged 1.3 something over his career. He had, we getting all kinds of noises in my ear. He had, Hunter, 29 points, which is one more than Hayward. 15 shots.
Yeah. He's just efficient.
5 less shots than Gordon Hayward, and still scored more points than Gordon Hayward. So look at and then another thing and the thing about the efficiency, Hunter, what's aggravating about it. So Kyrie scored 25. How many shots do you think he took? Wow.
22.
17. Less points, more shots than Durant. And you know, Joe Harris took 12, Hunter.
Yeah.
You go to a game, you're coaching, you be like, you know what I'd like tonight? I like Kevin Durant to take 15 shots and Joe Harris 12. Like you just, he's so unselfish with it and such an efficient scorer. That's why I was telling you guys Saturday, watching that game Friday night, him playing. I watched the whole second quarter and he didn't even touch the ball, and still was the leading scorer. Didn't even touch the ball.
He didn't touch the ball in the second quarter, but in the third quarter, he just magically pulled 16 out. It was just effortless.
He's so good, and the Hornets got beat. I mean, beat them.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you can't bet on NBA. That right there. So
No.
for us to talk any regular season basketball, that right there proves that you just.
No, you don't.
They got beat by the worst team in the league, probably the worst roster the
When
day before,
I
and then the
used-
very next day they won a back-to-back
Yeah.
against the best team in the league.
When
Not
I
one
used
of
to
those.
dabble in sports betting, it was like, let me see, 2-3 years ago with some buddies of mine, and we had one bookie. we would always do, of course, baseball, because mostly baseball, depending on who the bookie is and where you are, it's a pick 'em. You just pick who wins. Right. Not much of a spread on the game.
Is basketball kind of that way too?
No, basketball still has spreads.
Okay.
And so, but we would focus mainly on baseball and football, and it is because basketball, anything could happen day to day. You could literally have the Lakers coming to town against the Hornets, and you don't know until after you've already placed your bet. Hey, maybe somebody's not playing.
That's another big thing.
Maybe somebody's not playing, and that's going to sway the points.
Exactly.
Or maybe they just have an off night from 3. Maybe they have you got to take this into consideration too. Say, let's just use that game last night as an example. I'm making up these numbers, but let's just say that, the Nets are averaging making at least 10 to 13 threes a game. But in this game, they only hit 4, and the Hornets catch fire and hit 15. See, you never know. So it's almost a crapshoot whenever you bet on basketball. Whereas football, most of the time, you kind of know what's going to happen in football.
How about the Nets took more 3-pointers than 2-pointers?
That's today's
against
NBA.
The Hornets. They took Hunter.
That you making that statement does not surprise me at all. That is today's NBA.
Shit. The Hornets weren't even close to that same stat.
Because they don't have nearly the amount of people that can shoot a 3-pointer. The 3 people you just named in Joe Harris, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant can all shoot a 3.
Let me tell you about efficiency, Hunter. Hornets won by 2. They took 14 more shots than the Nets.
And only won by 2.
They took 14 more shots than the Nets did in the game and won by 2. Just guess, Hunter, if you can. I'll say I'll put it this way. Between 80 and 100, both teams took shots. Mm-hmm. How many 3-pointers did the Nets take? Well, Shaq did average 30 points a game. Why didn't he? If he could hit a free throw, if Shaq shot 75% of free throws, we'd be having a totally different argument on this.
Right.
Because what did he miss out on? Like 4,000 or 5,000 free throws? Like misses on his scoring? So you put that in there.
Think about it. They brought up Hackett Jordan to stop DeAndre Jordan.
Right.
Because
do you not
in the paint, that's where he was deadly. But at the free throw line, you basically could kick back, relax, and sip a Coke and know, hey, he's not going to hit these. You could say the same exact thing with Shaq. If people really just wanted to, they could just wrap him up, and he wouldn't have been nearly as destructive around the paint.
So most teams, what they would do,
I think that's the better word to use than dominant, because whereas. Well, you could say he's dominant, though, as well in the paint, because really who just matches up perfect with him? Like, if you say you're going to sit here and guard Shaq and hold him under 20, who does it?
Well, under 20s is extremely tough. But if I'm going to go up against him, and I mentioned DeAndre, I'm picking Akeem Olajuwon every time. Because, first of all, he swept him into finals. Akeem won a championship with his second best players, Kenny Smith and Sam Cassell. Akeem swept him.
Don't talk bad about Kenny Smith.
Akeem by far can shoot better than him. Like free throws, everything. Akeem's a better defender. You talk about Shaq. He wasn't a good rebounder. Shaq's career average in rebound, Hunter. You know what it is?
What was it, 6?
7.
7. I would have guessed.
How do you say the most dominant person ever, and he gets the same number of rebounds as Draymond Green? Like Barkley averaged 11 rebounds a game. He's 6'4".
Do you know what I think really was the demise in some of Shaq's numbers? Was the fact that he played for so long.
I said that wrong. That was defensive. He averaged 11. Sorry.
Okay.
I thought that was
11 total rebounds?
11 total. 11 games. In his career, and the last few years obviously weren't that great.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was.
He was still at 12 with the Lakers in Orlando. So 12. Let's say 12. But he was getting the same number of rebounds as Barkley.
I think he played too long. And I think a lot of people can sit here and agree with that and say he played too long, because there were times where it was every year. Eventually, Shaq became the rainbow of the NBA when you would just look at his jerseys, because it felt like he had just been everywhere from, Miami, or I'm sorry. Yeah, he was in Miami. Let's start Orlando, Lakers, Miami. Then he was like with the Cleveland Cavaliers at some point, then Boston, then Phoenix.
Phoenix was first for 2 years, then Cleveland, then Boston.
Yeah, and towards the end, that you could just tell that his body was gone.
We're not obviously talking about that guy either.
Right.
And so
well, see, that's where a lot of people then you come into question about Shaq. It's, well, which Shaq are you talking about? You talking about the Shaq that didn't win any titles in Orlando, the Shaq that got to the Lakers,
4 years.
the Shaq that got to the Lakers and won titles, or the Shaq that was kind of towards the end but still won a title in Miami? So it's hard to sit there and say, well, which one do you believe is prime Shaq? Because really, prime Shaq to me would be the one where he was his most athletic in Orlando.
Right. Well,
but he wasn't winning championships till he was with the Lakers.
Again, and so the point I made with Andre about that exact point was, you say what you want to about Shaq, he didn't win a championship without the best shooting guard in the NBA on his team.
Kobe and then Dwayne Wade coming up.
Right. Like, he had the best shooting guard. He did not win a championship without the best shooting guard in the league.
And it's crazy to think
team.
that he didn't. Well, I know they at least made the finals, but him and Penny. I mean, Penny Hardaway was no joke.
Penny was great. Penny was fantastic.
I was watching Penny highlights either this morning or last night. I was just watching. They popped up on Twitter. I was like, let me leave it a look.
Penny was T-Mac with more injuries.
Tracy McGrady, if he doesn't get injured.
T-Mac, I tell you what, he's bigger than what everybody thinks he is. You ever seen him on any of these talk shows?
Yes.
I watched him for 15. I never thought T-Mac was that big, and he's big.
It's crazy to think T-Mac and Vince were on the same team.
I think
because
he was so skinny, it made people not think that he was that big. Like, he was extremely skinny his first 10 years in the league, and up until then. So let's see, Hunter. Okay, back on Shaq. So Andre's like, well, who are you going to take him with? Dave Robinson, Admiral? I was like, yeah. If you look at the numbers, first 10 years, Admiral dominated. But he was older than Shaq, right? He came out in the 80s. He was in the Navy in the 80s.
Yeah.
So when his career was ending when Duncan's was starting. Okay? So they won 2 together. That means they went through Shaq to get those 2, right? Well, then after David Robinson leaves, now David's the last 5 or 6 years, Shaq dominated. That was when Shaq had Kobe and they were champions. But that was the end of his career. So for the first 10, it was David Robinson dominating him. And then he moves over to the West. He gets Kobe. Now Duncan and them, you say what you will about Duncan, but Duncan never won a championship without, say, once Robinson left, then his championships included at least 2 Hall of Famers on his team. Ginobili and Parker's both going to the Hall of Fame. And then Kawhi,
he's Hall of Famer.
So that one had 4 Hall of Famers in one starting lineup. Right. And the human victory cigar, Danny Green. We were talking about him earlier. Is he this generation's Robert Horry?
Just jumps around and gets rings.
He's won like 3 out of 4, hasn't he?
He won.
Or 4, or he won.
Well, if you think
the one long ago. How long ago was the Spurs one? That was the latest.
What, the last one was
4
it?
years
2014,
ago, 5 years ago, 6 years
2015,
ago?
2014.
At least 5. I'd say 5 years ago.
Something
He's won
like
3 of the last 5 or 6.
Yeah, because he won with Spurs, Toronto, and then the Lakers the next year.
Mm-hmm. He's the Robert Horry. Robert Horry only averaged double digits in his career.
It's a good question though to know how many rings does Danny Green have.
He's got 3.
He's only got 3.
I think it's just those 3. Horry only averaged double figures 3 times in his career, and it was the first 3 of 4 years of his career. So you look at that, and you're just like, oh, there's the victory cigar. And he's got a national championship too.
Yeah, he is national champion and 3-time NBA champion.
I'm telling you. But see,
and all he does is the epitome of what today's basketball is asking you to do. Stand in the corner and just shoot a 3.
He shoots threes and he plays defense.
Mm-hmm.
He can do them both. That's why he gets on the court. He's just a good. See, Hunter. The Hornets keep picking guys that can play defense like Danny Green, but can't shoot like him. It's the complete opposite. Like if we had 5 Danny Greens and then some of these stars, that would be a lot better.
Crazy thing, I was about to say, where's he at this year? He's in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's got a chance to win it this year.
He does. I mean, because the East is wide open.
But they don't, because they got Ben Simmons on the team, and he's guaranteed what did they get, the second round when he told me that was a stupid question? I don't think they got out of the second round that year.
Was it? I don't remember.
I think so.
I don't remember.
Ben.
The problem is with the 76ers is neither Ben nor Joel have been able to stay healthy in a whole playoff run. That was the problem when Ben and them were supposed to come back for the bubble. I'm pretty sure he was like, I'm getting like arthroscopic knee surgery or something. It's like, sorry. You had a great opportunity to make a run. He was like, sorry, not going to do it. Not going to do it.
Yeah, so I just kind of want to update you on some of the big man arguments we were having and what's going on. And, Shaq was good. He was athletic. But again, to me, it's one of those. He's in the Cam. He's more successful than Cam, but way more successful. But he's also in the Cam thing where, like, Cam never worked on his mechanics and quit throwing off his back foot. Shaq never fixed his free throws, and he was always overweight.
He stopped watching his figure.
Right. When you looked at him in Orlando, like if you project that guy at 34 and he still got that same body, oh my God. Mm-hmm. But he didn't. But he won. So again, that's why I can't take it away from him. I'm just saying, like, you go into these games, Hunter, and yes, Shaq's going to get you 25 and 10.
Well, here's the real question that people should have now when we talk about big men. Where does Dwight Howard rank amongst all-time big men now? And you can only have this conversation now that he's won a ring. Sure, it was with the Lakers, and really he wasn't like the X factor that he was his years in Orlando, but you can't sit there and say, well, he doesn't have a ring anymore, because he does. And throughout all the accolades that he had throughout his early career, he's got a ring now. And that's what everybody wants to talk about. It's like, don't talk to me if you don't have a ring. That's why a lot of people still dismiss Charles Barkley. For as great as Charles was, that everybody says, well, he never got a ring.
That's insane.
And now you look at Dwight, he can finally say, well, I have a ring. And technically, he's in the same spot as Danny Green. They're both with Philadelphia right now. So he could be fighting for another one. The only problem is he's back up to Joel Embiid.
I'd probably have Dwight somewhere in the teens as far as big man.
All time? Just in the teens?
Oh, he's definitely top 20. Mm-hmm. It's just, you look at his numbers, Hunter.
Dwight Howard Hall of Famer?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's not a question. Hall of Fame basketball is easy. Like, you can be the second best player on a team, even third, and still be a Hall of Famer. Like, so Stockton, Malone, they're both going in, which they should. But what I meant, like, the third guy even has a chance, like Hornacek, okay. with the way the basketball works. His best year though, 22.9 points. That's his best year ever. Was 22.9. But he always averaged double digits. Here's his rebounds: 10, 12, 12, 14, 13, 13, 14, 14, 12. All time 12.3. That's more than Shaq. Shaq's got him by 3 inches and 60 pounds probably. He only averaged 24 times in his career. So to me, Howard and Shaq are almost in the same. They're almost the same player as far as extremely gifted athletically, where the other teams couldn't deal with it. But you can't shoot free throws.
No.
And so that makes it like today's NBA game. If Shaq came on the court, he with no centers, he would get 30 to 40, okay? But would teams not more often employ the Hack Shack in today's against that? Because you know you're going to shoot a three, and we're going to make him go down here and make.
You got 3 guys on the bench out there for one purpose: go out there and foul him.
Now see, and that's the only thing. So teams, the way they used to guard him, you'd have
got 6. Was it 6 fouls?
6 fouls.
Yeah, you got 6 fouls. Use every one of them.
So you'd have David Robinson out there, right, or Duncan, whoever their backup was. They'd have 2 backup centers to get the fouls. So they would play. They would try to D him up, do their best. They get one foul trouble, bring in the other guy, hack them, and move the center over to power forward and just play that guy. So every team, if you were planning to beat them, honestly, it is true, you had to have a center that can get 6 fouls off the bench because he's got to come in and just foul. But I was just wondering about, like, today, because they were talking about the Jordan, like how many he would average, and Shaq, and it just depends
always thought that in today's basketball, just because everybody is so far out on the perimeter, even the power forward, hell, even the center in some cases,
right?
There's no reason why Joel Embiid shouldn't average 30.
Or close to it.
Or close to it.
Because he's got man-to-man coverage.
And not just that, but he is the guy that, sure, he's got the foot movement and the back-to-the-basket skills. He can shoot a 3.
Yeah.
So there's no reason that Joel Embiid should not be averaging as many points.
Is his aggressiveness problem? Does he seem, you know what I mean? Does he got that dog in him?
I don't think he does.
Where's he from? Is he from here?
No.
Is he American?
He is from an African country.
Like that,
he is from an African country. I do not remember where. We will find that out. He is Cameroon. That is where he's from. He's
from
Cameroon.
You don't know where people come from, but
I don't know. I believe it is that, because when you see him off the television, or I'm sorry, not off television, but on television, off court, he's a very fun-loving guy. He's a jokester, and he's always trying to be around everybody and make people smile and stuff. I think that's the whole question mark is, does he have that drive to be as great as he could be? Because what he has is, I mean, he's got Shaq's size. Think about it. He's like 7'1". He's that big, but he's got something that Shaq couldn't do, which is shoot free throws and shoot a 3-point shot. So Joel Embiid has all the tools available to him to be dominant. And especially, like we said, in today's basketball, and not only that, it's set up for him to get through in the playoffs because he's in the East. The East has been down for years.
Yeah.
But now I think it's starting to get a lot stronger. But I don't know, maybe I think it is the aggressiveness thing, and I do think him and Ben Simmons I think they kind of just collide with each other. Not saying personality-wise, I'm just saying play style. They both want to get in there and bang down low.
If the other three people on the court are all 3-point shooters, I think it can work. But when you add someone who's not...
Well, that's why I thought it was a good move when the 76ers moved off Al Horford.
Yeah.
Because that was just taking touches away from Embiid down low and clogging up the paint even more. And especially for Ben Simmons, who doesn't want to shoot threes or even shoot a pull-up too and want to get to the paint.
What did somebody call? It was Zion Williamson. And somebody called him something the other day. It was like Anthony Mason with hops or something like that. It was another NBA player.
Right.
It sounded like it was kind of insulting, but it was like they asked him. He was like, "Oh, he ain't nothing but like." I can't remember who the player was, but that's what it was. Something like that. Some player that's not that good, but he's just got hops. A big dude. And I think it was somebody.
And Zion, what was his second game this year, already dropped 30? Like, come on. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying Zion has an opportunity to be great, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. If he doesn't control his weight, then he'll be Shaq. Except without the rings. It's just going to be tough for him to stay in shape. But if he can, I mean, he's got a great opportunity to be fantastic. The problem is you look at New Orleans. It's one of the things where, you know, how me and you, we talked about it, I think it was a few weeks, either last week or it was before I got sick, we had talked about it. It was how the NBA has become so regional biased, especially with like market biased. And I think really what hurt Zion, no matter how great he is, was the same thing that hurt LeBron early in his career. I miss Cleveland. And in Zion's case, I miss New Orleans. Now you take Zion and put him on the Clippers, the Lakers, Boston, Miami. Do I think he's got a real opportunity to win a championship? Yeah, at some point. But I think New Orleans is just... I could see him leaving after his first contract is up.
In 3 games, he's averaging 21 and 11 rebounds. To me, honestly, he looks like Barkley.
Yeah.
I know you never saw him play, and everybody's...
The only problem I have with Zion is he's too left-hand lenient. He hates going to his right.
Lefties are like that.
R.J. Barrett's the same way.
Lefties are extremely lefty. But if you look at rookie year, basically, or last year, this is the second year, it's 22 and 11. I mean, that's Charles Barkley numbers, Hunter, and he's pretty much the same. I would say close to the same size.
He's thicker.
He's definitely thicker, and he can jump higher.
Damn, he's thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
But the thing about Barkley's jumping, everybody just underestimates, is the dude could get up, one. The second thing is, he was one of the most quickest jumpers. You know what I mean by quick jumping?
He hits the floor, but he comes right back up before his heels touch.
So watch a Barkley highlight, and you'll see all these like put back dunks and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, how are they letting this 6'4" dude just yam on everybody? And that's what he was such a quick and great leaper. And people don't, he's listed at 250, 6'6", 250. I don't know what part of that career he was that. And Zion's 6'6", 280, right?
Yeah.
He's got about 30 pounds.
Yeah. Like, unless he's lost weight this season. I don't know. I don't know. But think about it. If Zion could get to 6'6", 250, so let's say 260,
that's great.
He is Charles.
I think that's what we're looking at. You're looking at a left-hander Barkley. Barkley's second year in the league, Hunter, 20 points, 13 rebounds. We're looking at Zion, 21 points, 12 rebounds. And it's the same height, same size. Again, Zion can do more athletically, like spins and whatever, 360s than Barkley did. But Barkley could dunk on anybody, and he would, and he could, and the rebound and off the floor was quick. And this reminds me of Barkley. Just looking at him, watching him play. Put it this way. Larry Johnson, I thought was.
I was about to say that was who came to my mind when people were talking about him. I said a lot of people say he's a left-handed Larry Johnson.
LJ was the closest thing to Barkley as we got, but LJ did not rebound like this or that. That's the thing. That was the difference between LJ and Barkley. When you thought about it, I was like, Barkley had that dog. Now I'm not saying LJ don't. A dude's got a gap and gold teeth.
Yeah, he does. He does. Oh, mama.
I love his grandmama, but yeah, I like Larry Johnson. He didn't have nearly as long a career as Barkley, not as good. I think Zion is somewhere. He's in that.
I'm
he's
serious.
The LJ, the
Zion has got an opportunity to be a fantastic player and a Hall of Fame player. The problem is he's got to watch his weight, and not only just watch his weight, but he's got to watch injuries. Right. It doesn't help that he's already had injuries to his knee. And it was during preseason games, and he missed almost 45 to 50% of the season last year. Now, granted, it probably really helped him that he had time at home whenever the season stopped, and he was able to get healthier before the bubble came around. But when the bubble came around, the Pelicans about didn't want to play him. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Pelicans came in there and went 0-8.
Yeah, they didn't.
They didn't. I don't think they won a game. Yeah, I think they shut him down. So I don't know. Well, and I think that ultimately led to the firing of their head coach too, by kind of putting a restrictor plate on Zion.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he was coming off an injury. I get that.
You think that was coach's call?
I think that was coach's call.
Okay.
100%. I think it was coach's call because I don't think you move off of him after especially getting a cornerstone franchise player unless you felt like he was going to hinder his development.
Right.
And especially to go out and pull, isn't it Stan? Which one is this? One of the Van Gundys. I think it.
Oh, it is Stan.
Yeah, isn't it Stan? Used to coach the Detroit Pistons. Yeah, then that's what I swear I think that was what was the downfall to God, who was the head coach for Pelicans?
Alvin Gentry from Shelby, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's right. Gentry, that's right. Alvin Gentry. I think that was what was his downfall.
All right, so you talk about today's game and the old days and everything. So quick thoughts. So let's look at Harden and today's shots. All right. So Bradley Beal leads the league with 25 shots a game. McCollum, Morant, and Tatum, 24.
Guards.
James Harden, 22. Christian Wood takes the same number of shots as James Harden per a game. Do you know who that? He's averaging 22 shots a game, same number as James Harden. It's insane.
How about James Harden coming out there looking like he's 15, 16 pounds overweight and still dropped 40 the
So
other
Christian
night.
Wood is 14 of 22, and Harden was 12 of 22. Oh, they've only played one game. Okay.
Yeah, they only played one game.
So
because they postponed theirs.
So this is kind of what I'm looking at this. 10 people, Hunter, take 20 shots or more a game in the NBA. Well, 10, 11, 12, 13, because they're all tied. 13 take 20 or more shots a year in the NBA. So, for example, Harden took 22 shots. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hunter, he took 13 threes. Okay? On 22 shots, Harden took 13 threes. Jordan, in his career, averaged 22 shots a game. Actually, 23 shots a game.
I'm pretty sure he only took, average 3 to 4?
1.7.
1.7 threes per game. That's what I'm saying.
And averages more than him. You take 10 more threes a game, and I still average more than you.
Oh, I know. But that was the whole thing when I wrote that paper about how people think that 90s basketball players couldn't play to today's players, or they think the game is better today. It's like, well, you got to remember, like, the guys that played in, like, the 90s, they didn't grow up with a three-point line. And it wasn't until...
Jordan didn't shoot a three, he was a pro.
Yeah, it wasn't until the likes of Larry Bird really knocking it down as consistent as he was. And then that brought along the Reggie Millers of the world who came in and lit the three up for
I think I looked up. Miller was averaging like 5 threes a game.
Yeah, but even then, look at that, 5 threes a game compared to Harden's like 11 to 12.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And especially with the fact that what you said is 100% is correct. Yeah, they score the same amount of points as they did in the 90s. Yeah. I think the difference, if I remember back to my paper, was only maybe like 1.5 to 2. Like, it was marginal, where it was like hit or miss. You could either just play how they played back in the 90s or play how they play today. The only difference is in today's game, there are just so many more possessions. But you would think with the more possessions, you would score more.
You're shooting further out, so you're missing more.
And then you're just, the guy's rebounding. And
it all evens back out to about 110 a game in the pros. No matter what they do, it's averaged back out. I think it was 108 was the average. And to me, what it does is to me it just tells you this is that basketball is the same no matter how you go around and do it.
Right.
You got to make your shots. You got to make your free throws.
The problem
You got to rebound.
is analytics has made it way into the NBA.
Right. And you know what messed it up more than anything? And I hate to say it, Steph Curry.
Yeah, it's great because he's so great at it.
And
He was great at it with the Davidson.
Not just him, Clay. So their offense got designed around the D'Antoni offense, basically, got around those two because you got two of the best shooters you've ever played.
Yeah.
So Clay might be one of the best catch and shooters ever. Steph's definitely probably the best off the dribble, maybe. So if you look at that, and then so other teams, and I've been saying this the last 4 or 5 years with Dwight Howard and everybody else, I'm like, just because they're winning that way
doesn't mean you win that way.
You can or should try to win. Like, you don't have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. Nobody does.
No.
So every team that comes out here and tries to shoot the threes and shoot the lights out, they end up Hunter back at the 106 points a game. And because not everybody's got Steph.
And then
Klay
you have
out
those
there.
outliers like, I don't know, the freaking Mavericks putting like 120 on top of the Clippers because they
It
kind of
was
just
77 to
20.
27 at halftime.
It was a 50-point game. They rolled over and died.
How do you do that? Oh, fine. All right, final thoughts on basketball.
But I'm just saying, that's just like the outlier. Those happen rarely.
Reggie Miller averaged 1.8 threes made a game.
That's it. So basically 2 if you round up.
He took 5 threes a game. He was 2 for 5.
2 for 5. Wow.
Let me see what Larry's was real quick just to finish it out. All right. So another thing, final thought. I was watching the Paxson shot, and I found some more details in it because I was watching another show and they actually mentioned it but didn't really get into it. But they were talking about, and I've never paid attention to it. I knew Horace Grant threw in the pass. Horace was wide open for a layup,
but
and didn't take it. He kicked it out because a lot of people back then, we're talking about the gambling stuff. A lot of people thought Horace didn't like the rest of his teammates and was afraid and wasn't there, and they were happy that he actually left and a lot of this stuff. So a lot of that conspiracy goes into that. So when you watch the play, Jordan was the point guard being guarded by Kevin Johnson. When Jordan got to half court, Scotty was being guarded by Barkley. Scotty come up to the ball, Jordan gave it to him.
Yeah.
I think they were going to run a give and go or something. But what happened was when Pippen got the ball, Barkley went for the steal and missed. So Scotty turns around and he's got a 3-on-2. Takes 3 dribbles into the lane. Horace Grant's guy steps up. Scotty kicks it to him. He's got a dunk. And he turns around and kicks it out to Paxson for a wide open 3. Now, he had a dunk or Paxson had the 3 to go up. But he kicked it out. But originally, like Paxson said, it wasn't supposed to go to me.
Yeah.
The play was Jordan to give it to Pippen. Dribble handoff.
Yeah.
I can hand off to Michael. Would you want to hand off to Jordan headed to the basket at full speed? Yeah. So that was the play.
One of 2 things is going to happen. He's either going to score or he's going to get fouled.
They were basically running pick and roll at the top of the key with
Jordan
and Pippen. And it ended up getting passed around. Pippen down to Grant and everything. And so, and like I was showing, talking to Andre about it, I was like, you can ask anybody on the street and they'll say Jordan threw it to John Paxson.
No.
Like 2 other people touched the ball before. Jordan never got the ball back. Think about that. Never got the ball back.
Yeah, he never kicked it to John Paxson.
Jordan brought the ball up and they didn't even give it back. And they're like, well, then he's off the game. I'm like, it wasn't even really it's not like the series was on the line. The play was for him. I'm going to pull it up for you, Hunter, so you can.
Be careful now.
I know, right?
I'm not trying to get kicked off.
I don't care at this point. So I want to break down the play. So here's Jordan bringing it up. He's got Kevin Johnson on him, and he gives the ball up, Hunter. Look how far away he gave the ball up.
Yeah, he's at the top of the key.
So Jordan's he's on the other side of the court.
Yeah, I know, but Pippen's at the top of the key.
Yeah, look, so Pippen gets it, 4 or 5 feet outside the 3. So Barkley here at this point is good, but he went too far. Watch him. So Barkley goes by, Pippen beats him. So Pippen takes 3 dribbles. Now
that's a wide ass open.
Look at that play.
Yes, look at that. Look how wide open he is.
Let me get this off here. People can see. So this is the path. to Horace Grant, and he didn't even think about shooting at Hunter.
No, huh?
As soon as he
grabs
touched
it, he flicks it outside.
So you see Danny Ainge moving over to help, and as soon as he gets it back out to Paxson, and at no point did Jordan ever touch the ball again. What was going on at the top of the screen, Hunter? Watch this. Watch this guy. B.J. Armstrong. Did you see him?
Trying to grab Michael?
No. He fell down celebrating before the shot went in.
Oh, huh.
Watch B.J. Armstrong at the top of the key behind the three-point line when Paxton goes to shoot. So Jordan behind the back, tongue out, Pippen, Horace Grant. Now I'm going to pause it. Everybody look at the very top of the screen in the red by himself next to the Suns bench. Watch this shot. In his hands, he goes up. B.J. throws his hands up and then just lays down. B.J., look, his feet are up in the air on his back, on the ground, celebrating, and the ball is going through the net at that second.
He just knew.
When he saw Paxson with the open three, he knew.
He just knew, man. Wow.
It's fun to break down these plays that people haven't seen before or have a different idea about what happened. The whole thing behind it is Jordan passed it to Paxson, and he never did. He never passed it to John Paxson. It was Horace Grant scared to take a layup. What would you like today, Hunter?
Yeah.
If that was the play, would we not be breaking that down right now, saying what was Horace doing, even though it worked, or how do you think we would talk about that on Twitter? That's the right basketball play.
Yeah, that's exactly what we would say. That's the right basketball play. You kicked it to the wide open guy. I'm like, oh well, I'm glad you think that. Some of us still believe that you want to put the ball in the hands of your best player at the end, but.
Well, that was the play was drawn up for that.
Listen, that's fine. Whatever. You can still hear. Yeah. You'll see even basketball players are like, "Well, that is the right basketball play." I'm like, buddy, look, you want Joe Blow over here taking the last shot because Kobe Bryant passed him the ball, or do you want Kobe Bryant taking the last shot?
Right.
Same. I can sit here and say the same thing about the guy that we criticize the most for doing that, LeBron. I would much rather have LeBron James take the final shot than him kick it to the guy in the corner.
I would too.
Now, granted, it helps if that guy in the corner is Ray Allen.
Down 3.
The guy in the corner, thankfully, is Ray Allen. But I'm just saying, like, I get it. It is the right basketball move. I would just. There's always that guy that you look to take that shot because you know he's going to hit it. And if that's LeBron, then that's why I sit here and say I would much rather him take a contested shot than homeboy taking just a wide open 3. Because we all know the percentages are way lower than if it was just like a 2 or if he was slashing the lane. If he's slashing the lane, fine, but kicking him to it on a 3, I hate it. I like shooting the 3 ball in pickup games. I do. But I hate the 3-point ball at the same time. It's a love-hate relationship. Like, I like shooting it because I'm not as big as everybody, so I can't just bang down in the lane when I'm playing ball with my friends.
As a guard, I love today's strategy. But again, like, you have to
I know it's a lower percentage shot.
You have to. There's a difference between, Hunter. Here's what I think. There's a difference between taking a 3 if you're open as opposed to working to find a 3.
Mm-hmm.
And working to find a 3 is hard to do and easy to guard as opposed to like that. Like what happened with John Paxson.
I wish the Tar Heels knew how to do that.
Like guard a 3. Like what would happen with the Paxson play.
Yeah.
That play right there actually epitomizes what basketball is supposed to be. You take Jordan had the ball, Scotty the 2 player, and then Horace Grant 3. You had your 2 best ball handlers, and then you power forward got the ball on the block. That's what every basketball coach would want, that scenario. And then what happens? You got your 2 best 3 guys sitting outside the 3-point lane. That's the best basketball scenario.
Because what you're doing is you're getting the ball inside closest for an easy what should be an easy basket. If they collapse on them, guess what? Your guys on the outside are wide open.
Yeah. And that's how they should.
Instead of what makes me the maddest is when it's only one guy per possession has touched the basketball. Because he gets the board, dribbles the ball, cross half court, and pulls up the 3.
That's the Russell Westbrook play.
And then the next, and then it happens with the next team. They get the board and said, "Well, if he couldn't do it, guess what? I can." And he pulls the 3. And I'm like, oh, come on now. I'm getting ready to see you guys basically play badminton here, where it's bricking off the backboard or bricking off the rim every time, and it's just back and forth, until one person finally hits it, and you're like, damn, you were, after all those 6 shots, you hit that one.
Larry Bird only took 2 threes a game. Larry Bird made 0.7 threes a game.
0.73. So round up to 1. He was 1 for 2. 50%.
Maybe the best shooter we've ever seen.
He only took 2 threes a game.
Here's his 3-point percentages, Hunter. You ready?
Yeah.
40 first year, 27, 21, 28, 25, 43, 43, 40, 42. And then skipped a year. I don't know what that was.
And see, after a
Guess he was
while,
hurt. Then 33, 38 in his last year, 40%.
think about it.
Shot 38% from 3.
Think about it. After a while, because he hit 40% his first year, but then it dropped to the 20s for a few years. Well, then he probably got so used to the 3-point line actually being around now, because the 3-point line wasn't even in college when he was in college. The 3-point line wasn't initiated in the college game until after, I think, Jordan left. So
I think it was 85.
Yeah, so they didn't even have the 3-point line there. So for him, it just came down to what everybody has these days in a 3-point line to just practice from. And then he finally just was able to, after a while, naturally get the shot down.
All right, last topic on basketball. I know we're going to move on, but did you see D-Wade playing Zaire one-on-one? Have you seen that video?
I did not.
You need to Google it, YouTube it, Twitter, whatever it is.
Please tell me D-Wade just destroyed his son. I think it'd be hilarious.
So they're about the same height.
Right.
Zaire may be even taller than him.
Right. But Zaire doesn't have his man body.
No.
Not at all.
So this is where they went with it. And this is kind of what, kids that don't get it. And you think about, all right, Hunter, name me we talk about the champions, the best players the last few years, and who's the best players the last few years? Just give me some names.
LeBron, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Luka, Giannis, James Harden.
All right, so with all those guys, no matter what you could say about him, they're all good around the basket, right? They're all good all got good feet.
Yeah.
So that's one thing about playing as a big man is having good feet, and that's what made Akeem Olajuwon so good. Is he probably had the best feet, the best footwork, and
the only one that I probably wouldn't say has the best feet is Giannis, but he's just so big.
He gets a punt. Don't he lead the league in points in the paint?
Yes, yes.
So,
I mean, he's just so big, you can't stop him.
So what D-Wade did to Zaire, they were playing 6-second shot clocks. So
they get the ball and they have to do something.
Somebody would pass it to them and then start counting down. So they'd go 6, 5. You got to do something within 6 seconds. So
I bet Wade would just post them up.
That's what he did. That's what I was getting to.
I bet that 100% would be it. I bet at his size, he would just post them up.
Every play was a post up, and his son was like, his son was getting so mad.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, it's something to be proud of. You beat me on post up moves. Good job, Dad." He's like, D-Wade said something to the nature of, I don't know the exact words. He said something to the nature, "Have you ever seen me shoot from the outside?" He said, my whole career is in the lane and post up. He said, "You stop it." He said, "You stop it, then we'll talk about it."
Yeah, I was about to say that. Dwayne Wade, to me, I can see it now. If Dwayne got it at the top of the key, he would dribble, of course, in the lane, go up for whether it was a dunk or a layup, maybe do a little pull-up from like the free throw line because that was about his range. And then also Dwayne would do this a lot. If he would get the ball, maybe it was a little handoff at the top of the key, or even if he was bringing it down, he would get to his spot and he would immediately turn around and start backing down that defender.
Yeah.
He would back down that defender because, to me, I do this a lot whenever I'm practicing just shots if I'm with my buddies and we're warming up. Dwayne would back you down, and you would see Kobe do it, and Tim Duncan was great at it. He would just use the glass.
Yep.
D-Wade is one of the best guards I've ever seen use glass. He just backs him down, turn around jump shot, puts it off the glass, and it's just cash.
The glass is so aggravating. See if we can get blocked for this one too, Hunter.
Yeah, we're trying to just get kicked off all day today.
You know,
I know exactly what you're talking about because I can see it now, and I try to mimic it whenever I'm just shooting around having fun because I like using the glass because a lot of people today, nobody wants to use the glass. They're like,
right.
"Oh, you banked it in, dude. You got lucky." It's like, not if it was intentional. And I tried, and my intent, not if my intent was to use the glass.
Hell.
Okay, you just don't want to use the glass.
Yeah.
It was. You just think it's cool when it goes swish. I'm like, I just want it to go in.
My sister used to kick my ass at a horse.
Mm-hmm.
using the glass. And so I just wanted to show you a little bit of it, a few seconds of him.
I mean, they might be the same size, but
they're close.
You can just look at it, like height-wise, but you can just look at it, and you can just tell it.
Well, that's a dad.
Yeah, that's Dwayne.
Look at him. That's him. Look at dad calves and ankles compared to young man.
He's thicker than him. He's got his man body. But you also got to remember, that's like 10 to 15-year NBA vet body still, because he's only a year out of the game.
Right. He took. It's just a lot of junk talking. A lot of Zaire trying to get him out there and make him shoot.
Yeah.
He blocks his 3 at one point. This might be the one. Yeah, and then he gives him the look.
And now I tell you what, I like that it's competitive.
Why does Dwayne have pink hair?
Oh, I don't know.
Then he blocks his shot.
Dwayne Wade used to block a lot of shots too at that guard position. I think he might be one of the most underrated players.
Shot blocker.
Shot blocker, yeah, but one of the most underrated NBA players ever. We know, because think about it. He won his first championship with Shaq, and that's where he got all the credit. Mm-hmm. But then when LeBron comes to town and they start winning championships, it's all LeBron, and that's all everybody talks about. It's not like maybe Dwayne had something to do with that, or we forget all the years in between where Dwayne was, if not the first or second best shooting guard in the league behind Kobe.
That's what I was saying. He was always the top 2 shooting guard between him and Kobe, and then Vince, if you want to put it in there. But Vince was getting old by the time Dwayne and him got there.
Right.
I mean, it was his. So anyway, I thought you'd like you'll like the smack talking in that. Hunter,
I would. I would like the smack talking.
It's pretty good, dad and son. All right, Hunter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go on a tangent for a minute.
Okay.
The Washington football team.
I know.
Has released.
I'm fine with it.
Dwayne Haskins.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. I gotta go down the hall for a second.
I am. I'm fine with it, and I'll go in about it. It's, I wanted Dwayne to have opportunities. That's all I asked for him when they drafted him. I didn't want him just sitting there running scout team, because to me, when you take a guy in the first round, more than likely you're expecting him to play at some point, if not immediately. And most of the time, it's immediately. I understand maybe he wasn't ready his rookie year, but they wouldn't give him a chance until it was crunch time, and Alex Smith injury happened, of course, that was before, and they were using Case Keenum. The problem I had with it was he just wasn't getting the chances. And so I just was asking for him to finally start getting opportunities and chances. So me as a fan and them as a coaching staff, outside of what they just see in practice, could see what you have. And then I could start making up my mind of what I thought of Dwayne. When you go back and when coming into that draft, if you watched what Dwayne Haskins did that season in the Big Ten with Ohio State, and I know Ohio State has a litany of talent everywhere on the offensive and defensive side. If you look at what he did that year, you thought he was going to be at least a good enough starter to play immediately, because he set the Big Ten record that year for touchdown passes. So he looked the part, he had the size, he had the arm. But then when Urban Meyer comes out and says that he just might not be ready maturity-wise, and he probably could have benefited for another year of college, you're like, okay, well, I want to see then what we have, whether he's going to be a project, whether he can at least maybe trial by fire and play a little bit. And so we finally got to see that. Past 2 games he was able to play. He started the season, which is what I was happy that they did with him. They named him the starter, and he played the first few games of the season. And now he's finally put enough tape out there for me to say he's just not ready. And especially with the off the field issue that he had this week, where it was kind of like a lapse of judgment. I completely understand with moving off of Dwayne. And I'm not going to sit here and bitch and moan about it and say, damn, he really didn't get an opportunity, because they did what I was hoping they were going to do with him this offseason. They let him come in. They let him really compete for the starting job. And guess what? He won the starting job, and he was able to start the first few weeks of the season. And then they saw, okay, we're struggling. You're struggling. We need to do something. We're going to go and we're going to move I totally forgot, Kyle Allen. And then Kyle Allen gets hurt, and Alex Smith comes in, and he has a spark, but that's because you expect that from a veteran and an ex-number 1 overall pick. Like, he still can play, especially if you keep a clean pocket for him. And then Dwayne gets another opportunity, and these past 2 opportunities have been lackluster, and whenever you bring somebody else in, they look better than he does. So I say all of that for me to come down to this. I'm okay with it. I understand. It's probably better that he goes somewhere else if somebody else wants to give him an opportunity and not just keep him here as a third-string backup. He is younger than me. If I'm not mistaken, I heard somebody say he's 23 years old. I'm 24. So he's got a lot of football in front of him. A lot of football in front of him. And he's got intangibles. He's got the size. He's got the arm strength. The things he needs to work on. And when he does throw the ball, it can be very accurate, whether it is to a defensive player or to an offensive player. But if you're Dwayne, he just really needs to grind and put his nose in the playbooks and to study defenses, and I think he could be a really good quarterback. Problem is now, you look around the landscape of the NFL and you say, well, who would even take a shot at him, especially just to even be a backup quarterback? They're coming out in the draft every year, which is another reason why, as a Washington fan, I'm okay with this move, because there are, I think I did the math, 6 possible quarterbacks coming out, depends on if some of the juniors decide to go or stay. And if that's the case, then you have an opportunity to find yourself a starting quarterback if you aren't sold on Alex Smith in the long run, or Kyle Allen, or Taylor Heineke, or if you aren't sold on any of the upcoming free agents. You can draft one. And now you don't feel like you're kind of chained to Dwayne Haskins and you have to, kind of fulfill a promise to him. Right now, Washington is fighting for a playoff spot. If they get the playoff spot, they're going to be picking in the late teens, depending on if it's a one and done in the playoffs. And right there, I think you can get maybe a Zach Wilson if nobody loves him in front of you. You can get a Mac Jones out of Alabama, because as of right now, it is still number 1, Trevor Lawrence, number 2, Justin Fields. And there's somebody going to be in those early picks that are really interested in those players. I know a lot of people have been talking about Trey Lance of North Dakota State. I'm not quite sold on him because I haven't really had enough tape on him. Me, personally, I could always go back and look at his games last year. He only played 1 game this year. That was just because of the COVID regulations, and the school didn't want to play more than 1 game. So... But you got, like I said, you got a Zach Wilson as a possibility if you're Washington, maybe at that draft pick, or maybe even in the second round if nobody takes him and they fall. You got, like I said, a Zach Wilson, a Mac Jones, and I like Kyle Trask more than a lot of people. I'm not a Florida fan. Obviously, I'm a Georgia fan. I have a Georgia shirt on underneath my hoodie right now. I'm a Georgia fan, so I'm supposed to hate Florida, which is fine and dandy, but that doesn't mean I have to hate players. I like Kyle Pitts out of Florida, the tight end. But sticking at the quarterback position, if I'm Washington, I get it. Moving off Dwayne, I think it was a smart move for both of them. Dwayne can reflect on this, and Washington as an organization can move forward. But I like the quarterback options that there are. Hell, I even saw somebody said, could Washington throw money at Dak Prescott? You know what? I mean, he won't be much worse than our quarterback situation right now. If anything, he could be better. But I say this every year when people are saying the older guys and the guys that are already in the game, there are starting quarterback caliber ready players coming out every year from college. Why not take a shot? So if I'm Washington, and obviously Dwayne, that's who we're moving on from, and Alex Smith might not be the answer long term, and neither is Kyle Allen and Heineke, I'm looking to draft one. I do feel bad for Dwayne, but at the same time, this was self-imposed. You just got to be smarter right now in these times. I get it. Trust me, I don't like wearing a mask. But with your team in a position with an opportunity to make a playoff spot, you decide to go out, and it is obviously a strip club, which I really don't care about, but you just decide to go out and not stay focused. I get the move. I get it. So if anything, it was self-imposed, and his play didn't help. So if you're Washington, we just move on from here. And I truthfully believe it's in the draft. I don't think it's picking up a free agent. I think it's in the draft. So, and that's my spiel.
I know I missed it,
Haskins.
and I might have a question or two for you here. I was trying to make sure I pull up the right stats and everything, and kind of want to talk about it. Number one, first mistake, Hunter. You drafted an Ohio State quarterback. I'm going to get that out of the way.
Nope. Nope. Because I think Justin Fields has a lot to offer out of Ohio State.
You going to draft him next year?
If he's available. If he's available, but I think he goes higher. So
yeah.
The problem is, like I said, is I don't know where Washington is going to pick, because whether they win, that's what I'm saying. Whether we win the division this coming weekend is going to be a completely different draft pick than where we are if we lose.
Right.
Because then Dallas gets that pick and we move up.
So
It's just going to depend on who's available. To me, I like Kyle Trask a lot out of Florida. A lot.
Here's your current draft order. Now, what's weird about this, Hunter, do you see who's got the third pick right now?
Yes, the Dolphins. And
Shit.
they don't need a quarterback at all.
I was about to say, wait a minute. What if the Dolphins just go ahead and pick a quarterback?
They did just bench Tua again halfway through a game.
Again, let's look at this. Let's look at that. What's the deal with that? So I'm gonna give you what I think what's going on. You can see what you think. I think the front office said play the rookie.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care about Ryan Fitzpatrick, and we don't care about him at all. The problem is Randy Flores has a top 5 defense, and top 5 defense wins no matter who you got at quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, if Tua comes in, he had what, 20 passes for 98 yards the other night. Like that's he's game managing the hell out of the game. With a defensive team, you can pull out close wins like that. But what Flores did was, we're down.
And we have a opportunity at a playoff spot.
We got
That's
a
100%.
gunslinger over here on the bench.
Exactly.
And so I think Flores can't go in that locker room, Hunter, with all those grown-ass men and keep putting this rookie out here with this, whatever this is.
Oh, the
claw.
his offhand.
Offhand.
I want to think about that. Miami is 10-5.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they had they had a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a top 5 pick this year, but it's through trade.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they earned that.
Right.
And this year, they're 10-5.
And what did they do to make them teams so much better?
You
What
know
did they
who-
draft in the second
I want you to
third
think
round? 'Cause
about
it wasn't
this.
Tua. Tua's not making them.
You know who the team's passing leader is? It's Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I know. Definitely is.
Tua has got 1,400 yards. Fitzpatrick's thrown for over 2,000 yards, and it was benched.
With a winning record.
With a
Wasn't he
winning
like
record.
6-3.
Yes. Yeah, he had a winning record.
So there's 5-2.
Fitzpatrick is completing 68% of his passes. Tua is completing 65%. So that's marginal. That's marginal. But if you look at it, 13,
that's the old average attempt argument.
Average attempt, yeah. I mean, Fitzpatrick is throwing 7.8 yards of pass. Tua is throwing 6.3. So he's almost throwing almost a whole 2 yards more than Tua is per play. The difference, though, here is the one thing we've talked about that Tua was good at when he was coming out is he doesn't turn the ball over.
Right.
And that's 10 touchdowns, 2 picks.
And
whereas
Fitzpatrick
13 touchdowns to 8 picks. He's thrown 8 interceptions. He will.
But
he takes chances.
If you need 80 yards and
he's going to get it.
A minute.
That's what they did
Would you
against
rather have-
Denver.
Yeah.
He went like 80 to 90 yards and won in that game.
So to me, I think Flores is doing a couple things. He's trying to play his rookie, see what he's got.
Which I think is smart.
But in the meantime, most rookie quarterbacks don't get a chance to play in a playoff race.
Well, here's the question then.
No rookie's ever won a Super Bowl. So if you're Flores, I'm just saying for this year, to me, this week and the rest of the season, I would go with Fitzpatrick because I know I look at these. You just can't win a Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback, and not one that's not dominant. This ain't Pat Mahomes out here slinging it around.
And the thing is, too, as well, so who do you really want? Like, think about it. Say they do make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Who are you playing in that first playoff game? Are you playing Tua or are you playing Fitzpatrick? And because it's all going to depend on matchup. Mm. I mean, who really? Miami. Who do you think they would draw if they got the wild card spot?
Right now, it's Tennessee.
Okay.
Right now, they're at Tennessee.
That's a winnable game. That is a damn winnable game. So you have an opportunity to win a playoff game, and you have to sit there and think, does Tua do it for us or does Fitzpatrick? Or do we go first half Tua, pull an Alabama that they did with Tua, and pull him and say, Fitzpatrick, you play second half?
How bad is it that we're going to have a 10, maybe even an 11-win team
Not make the playoffs,
and the Dallas Cowboys or Redskins are going to get in with 6 or 7 wins? The East is going to win it with 6 or 7. This is going to be the most Cleveland thing ever.
Yeah.
You know what's about to happen. They're going to be the one. Right now, they're in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-team tie.
Yeah.
And one team's out. Who do you think is going to be the
It's
odd
going to
man?
be Cleveland. Cleveland's going to be out with almost 11 wins on the season.
Yeah. Colts play the Jags.
They're winning that game.
Now, with that said, Jaguars are already locked into the 1 spot.
Yeah.
So they can win. They can play
They
Minshew.
could play hard.
They can play Minshew if they want. Minshew's numbers comparable this year are to Drew Brees. This year's numbers.
And guess what? The Jacksonville Jaguars committed to tanking and said, forget you, and you might actually be decent for us, but forget you. We're going for Trevor Lawrence. That's exactly what they did.
Well, I bet. Do you think Fitzpatrick just signs like a 4-year deal and retires and stays in Miami? Or does he chase another
another backup spot?
That's what I'm saying. Like, all these teams that put him in at starter are like sorry teams.
See,
like,
here's
nobody's putting
here's
him
the
in
thing
and giving
with
him a chance with a good
Fitzpatrick.
team.
Fitzpatrick has always been a placeholder.
Right. He's never had a chance with a good
exactly.
team to run it.
And the
play.
problem is after this draft, really, you look around the league, who needs a placeholder or who is in need of a cornerback? I think we draft one. The rumor I've heard, too, you didn't get to hear when I was in here is, if Dallas doesn't sign Dak, why wouldn't Washington offer him a contract? If we're in a quarterback flux and you don't trust a rookie, you want to just bring in a guy that's played.
I think 100% depends on what if you win the division.
I think it does too.
Because if you lose, you're in the top 10.
We can get one of the top
somebody
3
if you want.
Yeah.
If you win the division, you got to look at it this way, Hunter. You got a playoff team, division-winning playoff team.
That's a quarterback away.
With basically a quarterback away, with a coach who's got cancer. You don't know how many years he's got.
Had cancer. He beat cancer.
There's a lot of fuzziness in the medical industry right now. Did Magic beat AIDS?
Cancer. He beat cancer. He beat lymphoma.
We think.
He rang the bell.
We think. That's what Andre said. Andre said he shouldn't cut Hastings because he already rang the bell. It didn't have nothing to do with that. I'm like, I don't know what any of that means. I just know that Hastings is a moron.
Yeah, no. But I know what you're saying because I agree with it. I do believe we got a stud wide receiver. We've got a good rookie running back.
What
We've
I'm saying
got
is if you got
the best defense.
If you got a playoff team, Hunter, and Rivera running out of time, do you really go with drafting a rookie and hoping?
Probably not.
With the second or third best quarterback. That's what I think y'all are in a tough position where it's either
the
Dak or one of these
here's
other free
the thing,
agents.
too.
Gardner Minshew.
Well, I know, but here's the thing, too. If you look at it this way, technically, if Washington was to sign Dak, they would have the best quarterback in that division.
Oh, yeah.
With already the best defense in that division. It would be tough to say no to that. It just, this weekend plays a whole lot of implications for a lot of teams.
It's nuts.
It really does.
In the NFC, we're going to have 2 teams with less than 10 wins get in. In the AFC, we could have... Actually, in the NFC, you could actually have 3 teams get in with less than 10. If the Rams lose,
could get in.
Yeah, if the Rams lose, you're going to have 3 teams in the playoffs in the NFC under 10 wins. And the Browns are going to be sitting there in the AFC 10-6.
10-6. Well, maybe 11 if they win this coming weekend. Who they play this weekend?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's vulnerable.
They got to beat them 2 weeks in a row, though, because if they win this week...
Yeah, they got to play them again in the playoffs. They have to play them in the playoffs.
I think it just depends on how it rotates. Right now, they're in the 7th spot.
Yeah.
I don't know if they win. If they win and either Miami or Baltimore loses, they won't have to play them again.
Right.
But if they win and Miami and Baltimore both win, Cleveland may be facing Pittsburgh 2 weeks in a row and having to beat them 2 weeks in a row.
Listen, though, you and I both know they're vulnerable.
Well,
Pittsburgh, you can do it.
I think every team is.
You can do it. I think every year. I think this is one of the wide. Coming into the season, I was hard bent on. I think Kansas City repeats. I don't know if y'all saw the text message I put in the group message, but if you've noticed these past 4 or 5 games, Colin pointed it out, and I noticed it when I was watching them play the Falcons. I was like, these games they are winning now are close.
Right.
They're not blowing people out anymore.
I think I brought that up about 2 weeks ago. Is that they're actually, they're winning.
Yeah, they're winning, but it's not by the margin you would think they would win.
But
by.
how do you fuss about a team going 14-1?
Right.
The last few games, 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 1 by 3, 1 by 6, 1 by 6, 1 by 3, 1 by 3.
Mm-hmm. Now that shows you can win close games.
That's 7 straight 6-point and under games.
Yeah,
that they've won.
And think about how many of those games they were a double-digit favorite.
About all of them.
Probably all of them. So if you bet the other team to cover, then my God, you won a bunch of money.
Their first 6 wins, they won all of them by 2 touchdowns except for 1. And then the end of the season has been. Well, they don't have a running game.
No, and Clyde Edwards-Hilaire got hurt, and I hate that because he was having a hell of a rookie season.
And one main thing the run game does, Hunter, is run the clock.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go up 2 touchdowns and then you start running the clock, it's harder to come back.
That's
if you just keep throwing and stopping the clock.
That's been what a lot of coaches or ex-coaches and people on television have been saying is the key to beating the Kansas City Chiefs is by you running the ball and keeping Patrick Mahomes and them off the field and you just running clock. Mm-hmm. The difference is, though, is Patrick Mahomes doesn't need but maybe 30 seconds sometimes to get down the field. They're so dangerous. The problem is I don't know if they're playing down to the level of competition, which is why they're close games. The only one I don't think they can say is played down was the Saints game was close. The Saints have a fantastic defense. But this Atlanta game, you only won because of a kicker missing a game-tying field goal?
Was you watching that live?
Dude, it cut so hard.
It?
Yeah, well, I was watching the end of it live.
Okay, so did you see the play 2 or 3 plays before where it might have been a fumble off the dude's head? The helmet, Matt Ryan's pass?
Yes.
Okay, so...
where Clark...
He got hit from behind.
Yeah, but he gripped on it.
Yeah, his hand... He
went forward. Yeah.
But what's funny about that, so yesterday I was having dinner at the in-laws for Christmas.
Yeah.
About 30 seconds before that play, I looked over at my brother-in-law. He's a Panthers fan. So don't remember. Yeah. I was like, you do know that the Falcons... Because he said something like, I can't believe they're in this game.
Yeah.
And I said, you do know that they're about to fuck this up royally, don't you?
Yes.
I swear, Hunter, it was right before. They were in the huddle when I said that. And 20 seconds later, the ball goes backwards 20 yards, and we're jumping up and down like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, thinking I just said that.
Yeah.
And he fumbled it backwards 20 yards.
Listen, I don't know how he missed that.
The kicker misses it.
I don't know how he missed that.
You kicked soccer balls. Have you ever kicked footballs any more than
I've
just
kicked
regularly?
I've kicked them before. Okay. I used to practice thinking I was going to go and kick for our high school
So tell me
team.
how a football gets 75% of the way
and then slices
going straight as fuck.
And then
the last 25 feet took a dead right.
I don't know if wind just
I thought wasn't they in the dome?
No, they were in Kansas City.
Oh, were they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were outside. I don't know, dude.
That ball went straight.
No, because
that like 75%.
That was my exact thought watching that kick when they showed the replay of it from behind in slow-mo. I'm like, that thing looks good until bam.
Like what type of spin did he have to put to where it didn't kick in until like 40
I don't
yards
know
down
if any of the analysts are like kicking experts, but the guy said the hold looked good and the kick looked good. It didn't look like he clipped too much of the left side, which would have sent it far right. But
I don't know that much about the physics of it.
Because I want you to
Is there a last second, like, was the ball spinning while he was kicking?
Because I want you to think about it.
Was there this action?
I don't know. I can explain for a soccer ball easily why you can make it slice left or right. Just depends on the outside or the inside of the ball that you hit.
But what about going straight 40 yards and then take a right?
But I'm just saying the difference in it is that ball is circular.
Right.
And so it's already spinning regardless of how you kick it. That football is going end over end when you kick it. So unless, like you said, he end over end it, but at the same time put a spiral rotation, there should have been no reason that it tailed off as hard as it did.
That was
nuts. I thought it was there. Unless it was on a string and the NFL said, you're
Uh-oh. I got a conspiracy for you, Hunter. There's magnets in the balls.
Magnets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that.
Well, that's the easiest thing you could do.
Well, make it hit the upright.
Yes. No, you have a magnet in the ball. You turn it on. Turn on your goalpost, which is another magnet or whatever, the opposite magnet to attract it.
Positive,
And
negative.
it pulls it to the post.
And then at the
Same thing with the basketball. You can put one in the back of the
rim.
And
on this
when
shot,
it hits the rim,
it's going to hit the rim.
Basically, for soft shots more than anything, so when it hits the rim and bounces around the rim, the magnet pulls it in.
back.
It's not like it's going to every shot you shoot is going to be nothing but net. I mean, like the soft ones around the basket will roll in.
Oh, man.
We talk about the ball going over the goal line technology. They're like, we put a chip in it. You could easily do that with magnets too, because all you got to do is put a magnet in the ball in a strip under the ground or on the goal line, and if it flips it, all it does is flip a little turn. It's like a stud finder.
Yeah, I don't know, but that kick, God, there's no reason. But then again, there is a reason why the Falcons lost that game, and by God, it's because it's the damn Falcons. That's all I have to say. Like, there was no reason they should have at least not tied it, but at the same time, I believe it because it's the damn Falcons.
I'm trying to look at this, Hunter.
I'm telling you, man. Like
the physics in this ball doing what it did.
it doesn't make any sense. Well, the best shot's the one from behind. The best shot is the one. Yeah.
So, but this one's good too.
Yeah, look at this. Look. He
kicked it from the opposite hash mark first. Oh, what did I hit? Commercial. Jeez.
Oh, God.
That's how you get kicked off.
They're like, wait a minute.
Skip ad. Jeez, now let's play another ad. I hate YouTube right now. All right, come back up here. Here we go. Jeez. All right, so he kicks it from the opposite hash mark, and then it takes hell of a right. Because I was like, oh, that squeezed in there. And then they showed that guy. I was like, oh, my God. And after they announced, well, this guy's never missed from 50 yards. They're not showing the behind the one.
Dang it. That was a great one.
I'll find it. But, yeah. All right. So, speaking of, bad kickers, how about the Browns? It's time to get rid of this loser, Hunter. Why is he still on the team? Dwayne Haskins has got cut before this kicker did. And
Cody Parkey.
There's no way I thought that was going to happen.
Cody Parkey is the double doink from Chicago.
He is shit.
Yeah.
He has missed so many kicks this year. It's ridiculous. And then they come in. Let me break down the Browns game for you, Hunter.
Yeah.
Down 10 with about 3 minutes left. They score. Pretty good. That's awesome. We can win.
Uh-huh.
Then the fucking kicker misses the extra point, making it a 4-point game.
That's the story of any NFL game, I feel like, this year. The kicker, for some reason, is missing like a 20-yard chip shot.
So we kick off, hold them to a 3-and-out. Remind you, this is under like 3 minutes. Hold them to a 3-and-out, and they punt it to us. We fumble. Baker fumbles on like the second play. Jets get the ball back. Now with like a minute and a half, I'm like, well, stick that nail in that coffin.
Right.
They hold them again to a 3-and-out. They kick the field goal. So now they're back up 7.
I want to talk to you about this game, though.
So, hold on. Let me finish the sequence.
About the kicker,
now we're down.
He's bad.
Now we're down 7.
Yeah.
Baker marches all the way down the field to the 15-yard line and then fumbles on 4th and 1. It couldn't be any more Browns than that. Then you lose that game, and that might be why you're not making the playoffs.
Right.
All because, one, if that kicker makes the extra point, you're not – they probably wouldn't have been turning it over. They might have been running the ball there with a minute left to run the clock out and turning it over in their own kick territory.
Do you not think that the NFL Denver Bronco to you guys?
A little bit, but, I mean, after what they did put it this way. If you don't let Denver play with quarterbacks, we have no argument to play with wide receivers.
Right.
But the thing is that the Baltimore Steelers game was moved 3 times.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It was moved 3 times.
With no attempts to move games.
No, it was moved 3 times and it's like, I know that the numbers were high, but it's not that they lost like all of one, position group.
Quarterback's fucking key.
The quarterback is key.
That'd be like baseball saying, oh, y'all ain't got any pitchers?
Sorry.
You better warm up Trout.
Yeah. Better get him out
there. Get that war out here.
Get that guy from the outfield.
Bring that center fielder.
Let's go.
But isn't that what wide receivers and stuff, I can make the argument what the NFL did is fine, trying to get it all in. But the quarterback thing, that one don't sit well with me because you're basically saying
you're not
guys
winning.
lose.
Yeah, you're not winning.
You guys lose, and that's not fair. It's bad enough playing with a backup or a third string.
Mm-hmm.
Like yesterday, you guys are in a damn playoff hunt, and you're out here running out a guy that you have to cut the next day.
Yeah.
Like all this millions of dollars and money and jobs are on the line, and y'all got this guy out here that nobody wants him out there. And you have to cut the next day, and it's just because like y'all should with the rules, like you should be able to call a quarterback in, call some wide receivers.
Well,
why couldn't the Browns bring in anybody that could run a pass route?
Heineke that came in and threw when they benched Haskins, we had signed him like a week before.
So he got his. I wonder how many days you have to be on a team.
I don't
Is there
know.
a 7-day rule?
I guess maybe. Well,
There not used to be any type of rule, but I'm wondering if there's a corona because you have to.
Probably
Once you sign, you have to be
because you
10
haven't
days
been around
cleared.
you haven't been around the team, so you have to quarantine. I don't know. I felt bad for Cleveland though because I felt like having some of those receivers would have been an X factor in that game.
Well, yeah, just anybody because Hunter, when you line up, the other team's got 8 in the box. Now, honestly, I would have beat it a couple of ways, and Stefanski can do whatever he wants. He's the coach, and I'm not, obviously. But I would have died on the vine. You know how many passes Baker threw? 54.
Ugh.
In a game with no wide receivers.
Ugh.
Who called Hunter? If I'd have said that before the game, would any Browns fan be like, "Well, that's a great idea"? Would anybody have thought that would be a good idea?
It's never a great idea. Baker's best games this season, he's thrown the ball maybe 20 times, 22, 25
times with no wide receivers, no Odell, no nothing.
You throw that if your running backs are hurt because you don't want to hand it off to the guy behind you. Not, we don't have wide receivers. Let's throw that the guys we just picked up off the street.
So honestly, what I'd have done is we got this weapon. And it's not like he's a baller or he's just showing out, but we've got a weapon that is a mismatch nightmare. And whether or not he cares or not, I'd still have him out there. Joku.
Right.
So you load the box. They're going to load the box up. I'm going to put Joku at wide receiver. And every time you bring 8 men in the box, we're throwing it up and high to him.
Go get it.
So I would take one step, like an end zone play.
Go get it.
I hate that play, Hunter. I can't stand it. But if you're putting 8 men in the box every play to stop my run, and I don't have any wide receivers, I got to use the one guy who's a matchup problem and make him part of the game. And they just, I don't know what they were doing. Tom said that they were stacking the box, taking away the run. True or not, Hunter, I'm gonna give you the actual play calls. Whether or not that's the case, they ran the ball 18 times threw it 50. It was 3, not 4. 53 passes, 18 runs.
You can't just run the ball 18 times so you've got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt behind you.
Like, even if we had Landry and Odell out there, I still want 25 carries or 30 carries from those two.
Between the two backs, yeah.
just
Each of them should get 15.
Let's throw Hunter 53 times. Just stupid. Sam Darnold won the game. And here's what it is. Sam Darnold won the game only threw 32 times.
Or 2 touchdowns.
They ran the ball 34 times. We ran the ball 18. Like, they literally.
I don't know why Stefanski pulled a blank there. Didn't he realize, like, the weeks prior when we were, the Browns were winning games that he didn't just look back and say, well, what did we do good? Oh, we ran the ball really well. Maybe that's who we are.
And the offense may be designed this way because, that's how the Cowboys was and a lot of them are when Romo was there. Do you think they're just going with their reads?
Taking what they give them.
Instead of they didn't force a single issue.
Mm-hmm.
They just went
just
with
taking what the
reads.
defense gives them. Say, well, they're just going to stack the box the whole time. We're just going to throw it.
Chubb had 11 carries, 28 yards. Hunt had 4 carries, 11 yards. Like, whether they're stacking the box or not, how does Kareem Hunt only get 4 touches?
Carries?
See if he caught any passes.
Probably did. I mean, he's the better ball catcher out of the backfield.
He had 3 catches, 41 yards.
So he had a total of 7 touches. That's it. You can't do that.
In a game with no wide receivers. We gave the ball. Kareem Hunt touched it 7 times. Alvin Kamara had 6 touchdowns Friday, Hunter.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara had more rushing touchdowns Friday than Cam Newton and Dwayne Haskins have passing.
Yeah.
On the season.
I'm telling you. I like Alvin Kamara a lot. But you got to look at it this way. I've tried to tell people this because they keep telling me Christian McCaffrey is just so much better than Alvin Kamara. I'm like, dude, they do the same damn role.
There's nothing.
The only difference is one of them is a white boy and one of them is a black boy. That's the only difference. But their play style is literally the same.
I would say I trust McCaffrey between the tackles more than Kamara, but outside the tackles,
They do the same thing.
catching, even off tackle handoff, I'd rather give it to Kamara. Him in space is nasty. McCaffrey's great. McCaffrey's good.
And that's what I'm saying. It's not a shot at McCaffrey. I'm just saying the gap between Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey, we talked about this whenever they came out with the Madden rankings, how it was almost an 9 point difference. And it was just because.
It was 99 to 90.
Yeah, and that was just. No, I don't even think, because Kamara was hurt. He was hurt the year before, so it was lower. And I looked at that and I said, that's blasphemous, because they are the play style, they are the same running back. They both can catch out of the backfield and they can make people miss in space. They are deadly. They are the same running back. So I want people to start giving Alvin Kamara some more of the credit that they do Christian McCaffrey. Now I want to see the Madden ratings for next year. McCaffrey been hurt all season.
Yeah.
What if Kamara gets a 99?
McCaffrey would be a 98, Kamara 92.
Oh, shit, I would lose my mind. But I'm just saying that because Kamara, you know who else plays like Kamara and Christian McCaffrey? Maybe not as great, but Kareem Hunt. That's why I didn't quite understand why they didn't use him nearly as much. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, and in space, he's deadly. I just don't understand.
5. Let's see, 6. Crap, maybe 7 or 8. About half. I'll say half and half.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the top 10, 15 running backs or rushers in the NFL, trying to figure out, just off the top of my head, how is it leading to playoff success, or leading to any success?
Derrick Henry's leading to success.
How about just looking at these running back numbers? This is insane that, I know of about 4 or 5 guys who got a chance this week to get to 1,000. Maybe actually about 9 guys got a chance to get to 1,000. There's a bunch of people in that from 850 up to 975. But just for the most part, Hunter, like you're talking about, Panthers fans might love McCaffrey. He's not winning you anything.
No.
None of these running backs are winning you anything. They're luxuries. They're great to have. But
I think Christian McCaffrey can keep it close, but I'm not going to tell you that he's the one that decides the game as much as the quarterback does.
Right. So Henry's first, 1,700 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Dalvin Cook is second with 1,500.
Dalvin Cook might not make the playoffs, Minnesota.
Right. Those two guys have 300 carries. So 300 carries, they've got 1,500 or more. Nobody else in the NFL has 300 carries. In fact, nobody else is really even close. Josh Jacobs would need 42 carries this week to get to 300.
Not doing it.
So James Robinson is third in the NFL.
Yeah.
Do you know who that is?
Jacksonville. Not making the playoffs.
Third in the NFL. Aaron Jones is fourth, Green Bay.
They're making the playoffs.
David Montgomery, Chicago.
Might make the playoffs, but they're still on border.
He's got 1,000. That's your last running back with 1,000 right now. Jacobs is sixth.
Borderline.
Chubb is seventh.
Borderline.
Now, the thing between Chubb and the rest of them, Hunter, he's got way less carries
Well, he was hurt.
than everybody in there.
He missed like 2 or 3 games.
He's only played 11 games. He's got 176 carries. So put it this way. Henry has twice as many carries as Chubb, but if Chubb had as many carries as Henry, he'd be leading the NFL in rushing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
as great as Derrick Henry is, Chubb is in one game. I like him, but about just as good as anybody. Lamar Jackson's 12th. Jonathan Taylor's 11th. Kenyon Drake 10th. Kamara is actually 9th in rushing this year when he's only got 187 carries. He's averaging 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, I know. They use him more out of the backfield, like swing passes, and as a receiver because he's so good at it.
So everybody, almost everybody's averaging right at 5. Zeke's 4.1 yards a carry. Like he's only getting 66 yards a game right now. Zeke is, and that's not. I don't know. I just kind of wanted to.
That's a $16 million running back.
My point of going through that is, again, you can like McCaffrey all you want, and he could be as good as he can be, but he's not winning anything for you.
Right.
And in fact, the last running back to lead his team to Super Bowl was Emmett. And Terrell Davis. Sorry, Terrell Davis. I'll take that back. But Emmett was the only one that won the MVP in the rushing title and the Super Bowl on the same year. So what McCaffrey does, swing passes. Like we say it all the time. That's not a strategy of winning games.
No.
You got to put it down the field.
Yeah, you got to push the ball down the
So,
field. You got
I
to take shots and try and hit your opportunities.
So
they've
got a big question. Do you think they go they're ninth now.
I know they had to
'Cause
go
they
and
won.
win a game.
The Cowboys and the Panthers last 2 weeks were sitting in the 4th spot in the draft. Now they're 9th and 11th.
Look, I get it. It's hard for you to tell these grown men not to go out there and
Right.
win. I get that.
Right.
But at the same time, like I saw Panthers fans. Luckily, my cousin, her husband is a Panthers fan, and he actually kind of had some sense. He said, "Yeah, we won a game, but really, what does that do with us going forward? Like we had a top 5 pick." I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah,
I'm not
right.
saying you should have laid over and died for Washington, but I'm just saying, what did you gain out of that? Same thing with Dallas. I know that now they're in the kind of trying to get into the playoffs, which I don't understand how Dallas, if they win this weekend, gets into the playoffs over Washington, because even if Washington loses this weekend, they both have the same record at, was it 6-9 or 6-10? And Washington swept Dallas on the season. Like we beat them twice.
Give me a second. I'll give you
I just don't quite understand.
an exclamation. An explanation.
Explanation.
So let's see what it says. Washington right now wins. They got the same record right now, Hunter.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they're both
Oh.
6-9,
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
and you guys are in on the tiebreaker.
Okay.
So
Even if we
lose,
yeah, if we both lose.
yeah.
But here's the thing:
the Giants
if the Giants
can still win.
they get in. Well, they swept us though.
The Giants have to win and Dallas loses.
Yeah, and we lose.
Well, yeah, they'll be playing. Who's Giants playing?
I do not know.
They were playing each other. One of us is playing Philadelphia, and the other was playing each other.
I didn't think that they were playing each other.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks are all divisional games.
Okay, well then the Giants and Cowboys are playing this weekend, and we're playing Philadelphia.
Right. So if the Giants win and y'all lose, y'all just can't lose. Y'all got to win, you're in.
Oh,
lose,
I know. We got to win.
Win, you're in. Lose, you're out. Because whoever wins the Giants Cowboys game will be in. Over
And
you
the thing
if you
is, I
lose.
mean, I think we can win. I think we can beat Philadelphia again. We would have swept Philadelphia and Dallas this year, but we got swept by the Giants.
Yeah, Hunter, it's win or in for you guys. Because if you lose, that means Dallas wins. They got more wins. If you lose and the Giants win, they beat you on the tiebreaker.
It's weird.
So it's win or in this. You're in the playoffs.
The East is weird.
You're officially in the playoffs.
Oh, I
this
know.
week.
If we win, if we win, we are officially in.
No, I mean this is a playoff game.
Yeah,
It starts this
it's
week.
2
Because
playoff
if you lose,
games.
you're gone.
Yeah.
Once it starts, you lose and you're out. You're in the playoffs. This playoffs start today with
And as of right
Taylor
now,
Heineke.
yeah, he is the starter.
Is it Heineke or Heineke? Did
I think
say
it's
it right?
Heineke. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think Ron Rivera said as of right now he is the starter unless Alex Smith is healthy. And I'm like, you know what? Fine, whatever. I'll say this though: if we lose, I'm not upset. But if we do win, because you have to look at it like this: cool, you made the playoffs. Who are you playing round 1? Are you just gonna go home?
Tampa. The East will be drawing Tampa as long as they win this week.
Then guess what? We will probably be a one and done. What did we really gain other than saying we made the playoffs?
It's Tampa no matter what. I think they're in the 5 spot lot because I think they beat the Rams or something like that.
They did beat the Rams.
Okay, so Tampa's in the 5. Whoever wins the East will be hosting the Bucks in the first round. The Rams or Bears will be going to Seattle or New Orleans, which everybody will be picking the home teams in the for the most part. But again, so Washington, Dallas versus Giants will be hosting the Tampa Bay Bucks next Saturday.
Like I get it. Somebody out of our division has to make that playoff spot. But at the same time, you know, when you look at the full swing of things for your draft spot, what good does it do us to go and make this playoffs game and probably lose round 1? You know what I'm saying?
No.
But here's the thing, crazy part is we're hosting that game.
Yeah, right. It's at home.
We're hosting
Ron Rivera.
I want you to think about it. We're hosting a better record team,
Right, by like 4
at home.
games.
Yeah, like they're
It's not even close.
they're like 9-4 right
They're
now.
10. They won 10 games.
They won 10
They
games.
won 4 more games.
Wow. And we'll be.
And if y'all
hosting
lose
them.
and the Giants get in, and they're hosting at 6-10, and the Bucks could be 11-5.
Boy, I want you to think about that. That's Tom Brady playing against the New York Giants again.
Yeah, might lose.
Might lose. Well, think about it. They almost lost to the Giants this year when they played them in the regular season.
Yeah.
It was close.
All right, Hunter, if you're all right, do you have Fields as the 2?
If you were to ask me who my quarterbacks would be, it would probably be 1, Trevor Lawrence, 2, Justin Fields.
Okay.
But they play each other now in the college football playoff. So if I see something bad out of Justin Fields again, I wouldn't be surprised if I throw Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, or Kyle Trask somewhere in there.
Okay. So we kind of do this a little bit. Let's play who's picking a quarterback real quick.
Jacksonville.
So Jacksonville's at 1.
Yes.
They're locked in at 1.
Locked.
Jets are locked in at 2.
I don't think they do.
They don't pick Fields. They go with they
stick
have
with Sam Darnold.
They have a conversation about Trevor Lawrence if they were 1. At 2, you don't have a conversation about a project maybe compared to Sam Darnold, I don't think. Miami at 3, they
Nope.
ain't. Atlanta?
Nope.
5, Cincinnati?
Nope.
Philadelphia?
Maybe.
I don't think they can based on the cap.
Well, they could try and move on. Well, think about it. They still would have him on a rookie contract, though.
No, I'm just talking about Wentz is still on his contract.
Yeah, if they move off of him.
If they can.
If they can, they can if they really
All right.
want to.
Now, with that said, you just pick Jalen Hurts, or you picking quarterback at 6?
If you
Fields.
think he's
Are you
better
picking
than
Fields at
listen,
6?
they might not. I'm saying though, in the realm of possibility, Philadelphia could. Because Carson Wentz, it's reported, and he hasn't confirmed or denied. It's reported that he would not want to stay in Philadelphia if he was to be a backup.
You know,
So
I agree with him for one point because you want to play football. Quarterbacks, the position sucks. Is if, like in high school, you end up in high school with a kid that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kid that came into Cherryville transferred in. I was in 9th grade. He came in from, I don't know where he came from, but he ended up playing quarterback at LR. Like he could sling the damn ball.
Yeah.
Like you look at him, you're like, that's a quarterback.
But you want to
6'2",
but
220,
you want to play.
Yeah, I want to play.
That's as anybody's like, I want to play. I want to be able to get
Now-
in and play.
Now, I could make the argument that if I'm Wentz and you want to pay me $35 million a year not to play, and I have a Super Bowl ring, I might just sit over here and take that money until it's time to leave.
But he's not gonna because he's competitive.
Well, that's right, but I wouldn't say anything. I just sit over here because at some point, also you got to think Jalen Hurts is a running quarterback, maybe.
Yeah.
He's going to get hurt.
Some point.
All running quarterbacks get hurt. It's not like he's not going
but
to.
you got to look at it this way and think, who would be the teams that would offer something up for him? And I'm looking at this not from a perspective of Carson Wentz. I'm looking at this straight up from Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody like, I know they probably wouldn't want to do it because interdivision, but a Washington.
Y'all traded McNabb before.
Oh, I know we did.
I don't think that would stop him.
I don't think we're as much of arch enemies with Philadelphia as we would be with Dallas.
Again, if you don't believe in Wentz, why would you care if he's on?
Yeah, well, exactly.
your
Give him to
division
Washington.
winners?
And that's what I'm saying is like you see these teams that think they're at least a quarterback away from actually being something. Frank Reich is in Indianapolis. You don't think they would pick up the phone and call? Frank Reich was there when they won the Super Bowl and when Carson Wentz had his almost MVP season. Do you think that they really want to keep rolling with Phillip Rivers with his
they got a
age?
chance there. Yeah.
There will be talks within, especially when the season is over, what to do with Carson Wentz. So Philadelphia is a possibly for
I
me.
think a good, besides him, just saying good for him, it'd almost be good for Philadelphia to not trade him early because then you might need him, one.
Mm-hmm.
But two,
Wait a few weeks and then trade
even
him?
if you go a whole nother year, somebody's going to be desperate the next year
Mm-hmm.
that ends up in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th spot and can't draft a quarterback. And was like, well, there's Carson Wentz.
The
longer
problem-
you wait, well, I'm saying though, Hunter, the longer you wait without him playing,
Well, Carson Wentz is going to be worth more especially if he's just sitting there.
people are going to sit there and think, well, he's healthy, he's got a good arm, we could probably work him. He's 6'6".
The problem that I'm running into this year,
I think they could get a better package if they wait.
is every year. I say this all the time. Every year there are guys that are coming in out of college that are ready to play, and this is one of those seasons where I could list off at least 5 to 6 players that could possibly, depending on need, go within the first and second round at the quarterback position.
Okay,
It's going to be tough not to at least look at them and say potential.
we're trying to find a spot for these quarterbacks.
Detroit could go. I think Detroit could if Matthew Stafford demands a trade. He's got to, and I don't think he has it in him. But
You want him to demand the trade?
Yes, they're wasting Matt Stafford.
Oh, that's the Atlantic.
He is wasting away there.
He's like his 12th year. Like, what do you do?
After a while, see,
you know what I do
Calvin
if I
John.
see him?
What?
I want to play for the New England Patriots.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's exactly what I do if I see him.
You think Bill Belichick really wants to work with a rookie?
No.
There you go.
What 70-year-old man with 6 Super Bowls wants to develop a young quarterback? Come on
exactly.
now.
Matt Stafford. Bill, pick up the phone. You didn't do it when Megatron was thinking about retiring.
Giants or Panthers look at Fields? What, Panthers at 9 if he drops to 9? Do you consider him then?
Oh, you consider it. Because defense,
There's a difference between moving up to 2 or 3 and taking him for the
Right.
Panthers as sitting at 9 and it falling. Now, the Panthers
you
at 9.
you have to evaluate how you think Teddy did this year with what you have
Right.
around him, and if Justin Fields projects out to be better than Teddy.
So at 9, you're thinking, right, exactly kind of what you just said. Is Fields going to be better, or can we make the playoffs and succeed with Bridgewater by adding a left tackle or a defensive end to make our defense really good? So that's your choices at 9, basically. If you're sitting at now, you don't need a running back. You probably don't need to go for a wide receiver.
No, you don't need a running back. You don't need a wide receiver. Like you said, I believe they do need an offensive lineman at some point, and it never hurts to beef defense up, but you can do that throughout the draft. We're talking about first-round talent.
Ninth pick.
And possibly franchise changer.
Right, stud.
So
Picking a left tackle at 9 it usually ends up being a good pick.
Usually, yes, you're right. But you have to look at it and say, people forget Teddy Bridgewater was still a late first-round pick. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not good and he's not turned out to be a really good quarterback in the NFL, but what do they usually say about guys that are taken in the top 10? Those are studs. Those are your guys that are supposed to be around and at least try and take you to the promised land of the playoffs, possibly Super Bowls. So if you're sitting there at 9, they don't do it.
The Sporting News has the Jets taking Justin Fields.
There's no way.
I don't either.
There's no way they do that. I mean,
Sam Darnold's not the reason they suck.
no, it's everybody else around him
Like that's not
and the
the
coaching staff.
Right.
Like,
That's probably the number one reason. I bet if you put a new coach in there, they win 6 games. They went 7-9
5 to 6.
last year.
yeah, I know.
Now you
It's
got,
weird.
Now you got googly eyes out here coaching.
I know. Look, he doesn't know what the hell he's
Like,
doing.
Hunter, if your coach looks like this in the
Like,
meeting,
like he's high all the time.
like what is that?
I don't know. But I don't.
It's Adam Gase.
So at 9 with Carolina, possibly. Think about it. Matt Rule, I mean, he's got all the control now. He could come in here. He needed a quarterback to
I don't think it's a bad pick at 9.
I don't think it is, because think about it. Even if Justin Fields isn't ready, you've got Teddy for another 2 years on a 3-year contract.
Right, exactly. That's one.
You're fine. You're fine. And then you could have the Tua situation here, not where you're flipping back and forth, but you can sit him if you need to. And then if you see one day in practice, holy crap, I mean, this guy's actually really good and better than Teddy. Hey, Teddy, we appreciate what you did for us for these past few games, but as an organization, we need to push. We need to move on.
I got to show these.
I know. Oh, good Lord.
Like, what? This is Adam Gase's eyes. Like, you see no color in it. How dilated are those eyes?
Damn, he had to
Look
be
at
on
that.
something before this.
Right. What are these faces? When they're asking, he was... I don't know. Maybe he's just got googly eyes, or maybe he's on speed. But
Shit, I don't know.
it looks weird, don't it?
Yeah, that's something else,
And he's
man.
2-13. Bye, buddy. All right, Hunter. Any other news and notes in the NFL?
No, I'm ready for playoff football. I really am. of course, there'll be games this weekend that really don't matter because teams have already locked themselves into their positions. Of course, we'll keep our eye, obviously, on the NFC East. I know I will as a fan, but other than that, I'm just ready for playoff time because there's one team that I'm really ready to watch in the playoffs, and it's Buffalo. If the Chiefs would have messed up and lost this weekend, Buffalo would have had the one spot because I think Buffalo will beat New England tonight. I think they will. And that would have been intriguing to watch. Buffalo with a first-round bye and home field advantage in Buffalo throughout the playoffs. I think that would have been fun to watch. But I'm just ready for it to get started, man. It's a love-hate relationship because hey, playoff football is great, but at the same time, season's almost over.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Saturday NFL football because it's going to be the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice. It's going to be really nice.
I love being able, because Saturdays for me, is my, we get off the show at 10:15, and I have to upload the stuff. I usually don't get out here till like 11:15, so I get home about 11:30. And then after being up all night on Friday or something and early on Saturday, I want to take a nap on Saturday afternoons.
Yeah.
So I try to at least lay on the couch something from like 12 to 1 or 2. And then, with most of the time I ain't nothing else. Because I'm not a big college football fan, so I'm not like looking forward to Ohio State and Indiana or whatever it is. And so Saturdays aren't really a TV thing for me. So when the NFL gets to play on Sundays, I like to watch that. College this week, Hunter, we all picked, looking at some of the scores, see Nevada won, BYU won, and these bowls, we don't know who's playing, who's not playing,
who's opting out, ready
who's
for
opting out.
And see, this is
how much is it all this a waste of time, a waste of money, and they don't care.
And you know
They
what?
sell them.
Hey, congratulations to Liberty for ruining Coastal Carolina's fun. I hated to see that because I would have liked to have seen Coastal Carolina keep their undefeated season, but I mean. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. I can agree with you, though, how some of this stuff is a waste of time if you look at it. Because I agree when you say sometimes, oh, look at you. You won this bowl game to be the 32nd best team in college football.
App beat whoever they would, and they won this Myrtle Beach Bowl trophy.
Yeah.
So you're the...
It's a different
that
because...
trophy's the 50th best team in the nation.
Yeah, and it's different because I would like to instead say I'm a national champion. That's why, to me, I'm serious if Cincinnati wants to, because there's no rule saying that they can't. If Cincinnati wins against Georgia this coming weekend in their bowl game, hang the banner. I don't care. As a Georgia fan, I know we'll have people opt out, but that's just how it is.
Look alike to you?
I really can't see that one because it's got a screen glare.
Okay, we'll look at it in a little bit. This is, who this is? Let's see if I can get to it. This is Stefanski in college.
Oh, Kevin Stefanski.
He looks exactly like one of my best friends from college. I'm talking Twinsies Basil.
Twinsies.
You know where that's from? Twinsies Basil?
No.
Can't guess it. Austin Powers. Have you seen any of those?
I have seen some of those.
When he has...
Yeah, baby.
He's got some twins that come up to shag with him. He's like, twins, Basil. They're twins. his friend's name, or the guy that does the stuff is named Basil. So he's talking to him. He's like, twinsies, Basil.
I will be intrigued, though, to see. I don't really care about the Alabama Notre Dame game. I think we talked about that Saturday. But I will keep my eye on the Clemson Ohio State game because I think that has the opportunity to be close. But if it's a blowout, I'm turning it off. I really am. And the only way I see it being a blowout, sorry, Tom, you're going to have to just hear me say this, is Clemson will blow you out, and I think Alabama blows out Notre Dame. That's how that'll happen. And then I might watch a little bit of the national championship then, but it'll be the same thing I've seen for the last 4 or 5 years, Alabama and Clemson.
Yeah.
It's kind of like after a while with Golden State and Cleveland. I was just like, I'm tired of it. I know what I'm seeing. So
what's frustrating is you sit here the whole season and think of the hours and hours and hours of debate and talk.
And the things that and the expectations you have for your team. Like, because think about for Cincinnati fans and Coastal fans at one time, they're like, "Dang, we have an opportunity to get in," and then all you did was just get rooted up the ass because the college football playoff committee was like, "Sorry, we already kind of knew who we were going to pick before the season started." Like, I don't know why we have so many shows talking about it.
That was like me telling you earlier this year that I don't even want to talk NBA unless it's to bitch about the Hornets until the second round of the playoffs. Because nothing up until then matters. Until the second round of the playoffs.
Nothing.
The first rounds were almost all
And
blowouts.
see, college football at one time, every game did matter because it was one of those things where you can't lose a game or else you're not going to be considered for the BCS championship game. Now, when we're talking about being able to keep one-loss teams in over undefeateds or the possibility of two-loss teams making the playoffs, I'm like, come on now. Well, now these games to some people just don't even matter.
3-loss teams ahead of undefeated Coastal.
And it's ridiculous in Florida. I mean, it's strange. And Georgia, I'll admit it. I think we have 3 losses on the season. That's not. We should not be ahead of an undefeated. It just shouldn't work that way.
Yeah. What's up? I don't have his number or anything. Somebody needs to tell him. All right, Hunter. So, anything? Any notes on this game or anything? Your thoughts on this Clemson Ohio State game, other than Dabo's being a dick about everything? And, I'm sure that. Honestly, Hunter, I've almost never pulled for Ohio State in my life, but
you will
and
this weekend.
I probably wouldn't never. I would probably pull if it wasn't for Dabo. If they had a coach that I'd never hear like Ryan Day or anything. I don't know. Like I said, Ryan Day could walk in here, I wouldn't even know who he is.
Right.
But the way Dabo gets paid the way he does on unpaid labor, and then to bitch and whine and act about everything and act like he's turning into Coach K almost. Now, a lot of people hate Coach K.
A little bit of success has gone to his head.
Right. It's tough. Like, I don't know. He's getting in that.
Listen,
he's
Clemson.
He's getting in with the big head.
Listen, Clemson. I know you're competing now, but you weren't always the powerhouse that you were.
And it's
don't get your big head.
It is cyclical. So, like you just said, in 4 years they might not even be any good.
Think about it. USC was said to be a dynasty. Now USC is fighting to win a Pac-12 some years.
I was about to say USC. That's the perfect example. I think is that for 10 years, 5 or 10 years there when I was in college and stuff, everybody's like, this team's in the Final Four every year. This is a dynasty. They've got when Pete Carroll was there, they got every recruit, everybody there.
Yes.
So
and
Clemson,
then
it can happen really quick.
And then it leaks out. Y'all ain't quite following the rules. And then it just blows everything up.
11th on Dabo's.
Think about it. Miami was an absolute juggernaut for years.
At some point,
and then now Miami is just now becoming relevant again. So Dabo, I mean, Florida State's fell off. Jimbo left, and they don't even look the same.
I'm talking before Jimbo was here, and when Bobby Bowden was there. Nobody fucked with Florida State.
It's just you look at Clemson, and it's like, if you look at the entirety of college football and who's always been good, they're brand spanking new.
Yeah.
Because Texas was dominant for years. Ohio State has always been damn good.
Clemson was down. They won a national championship, 90, 89, something like that. Georgia Tech had a split championship.
But after that, then what did they do for years?
You're right. So
it hasn't been since what?
It was it was basically 20 years of nothing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then you're just now... Your claim to fame, even think about it. LSU has been great for a long time, competing against Bama in the SEC to see who was going to be the one coming out in the SEC. And they don't even have as big of a head as Clemson does, and they won the damn national championship against them last year.
Yeah, he's I don't know. He's to put him 11th. He said so. His arbitrary number. I found out his number. He said I didn't put anybody in the top 10 without 9 games. So that's his magic number, Hunter.
Okay.
Again,
he's got a qualifier.
9 games, but he didn't say that before the year.
Nah.
he's God. I honestly, just to shut him up, and I hate all these teams. Honestly, I do. I don't like any of them, and it's bad enough to you get into NBA Finals and you don't like either team, or World Series you don't like both of them. There's 4 teams. I can't even be like, well, I hope these guys win, because I hope the Crest guys do well. That's what I'm pulling for.
The only team that
means you got to pull for Dabo.
The only team out of these 4 that I would be like, damn, that's great that they won, would be Notre Dame, because it would be the first different team to win it in the last 5 to 6 years.
Yep. All right, Hunter. Any other news and notes, comments, suggestions?
I believe that's it for me.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna give this note one thing. Let's see if I probably can't get it up there, but we're gonna try. So number 12 here, I think looks just like the Cleveland Browns coach Stefanski here. As my buddy Steve Mack, he went to Hargard High School. That they were a rival of Laney, which is where Jordan went. Just to give you an idea. This is the one side of the ball of our intramural team. Actually, those guys, I would say only two of them are two of our best players. Oh, goodness. There you go. Duke has canceled their game with Pitt tomorrow. Scared of the corona. You think he's going to play any more games this year?
No, I don't. Seriously.
Think he's going to quit them all?
I do believe.
So too.
I believe that's why they had the women's cancel first, so that too. Coach K is like.
I think he's setting it up.
Yep.
All right, folks. We'll see you guys later on in the week and on Saturday. Shock Joxx by KTC Broadcasting. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Watch the replays on YouTube. There we go. Watch replays on YouTube. Links on Facebook and Twitter. Listen on where podcasts are at. Podcast. You want to try that? What's a podcat?
It's a cat in a pod.
All right, I'll go with that.